Chief Engineer's log, Lily Shen, first entry. It's funny. Dad always used to smile when he said that. Some sort of inside joke from the old days, I guess. Well, the joke's on me now, isn't it? Now they see us, we've gone. And now I have to pick up the pieces. Problem is, I have no idea how they fit back together. Central tried to give me one of his pep talks today, right after Dad's ceremony. 5 seconds later, I had my first mission. Something about scanning some old ordnance our recon drone spotted. Oh, that and getting this entire ship operational. No pressure, right? Chief Engineer's log. Well, field notes, I suppose. We're approaching an old interceptor we picked up on a drone flyover. I made the mistake of telling Central about a new 3D replication system I'd been working on, and now he wants to blueprint all kinds of stuff. In this case, it was some old Avalanche missiles we were after. I'm gonna start keeping these entries for posterity purposes. Or just in case I get incinerated into atoms today. Those missiles were volatile before they crash-landed in the forest. And then, of course, there's Advent. If we can spot this stuff, so can the aliens.
On my way. Beavers are always vigilant. I've got my eyes on.
Hard to believe we used to consider these Avalanche missiles to be the most advanced ballistic weapons around. That was back when conventional warfare was a thing. These days, they'd be considered quaint at best, compared to what the aliens have. Still, I'm betting Central will put them to good use. If we survive this, that is. Frag out! They're on to us.
Justice comes for all! Their journey ends here. Moving out. Death to the invaders! The shadows fail us. On my way! Target disabled.
The aliens never seemed that interested in adapting any of our technology. They were definitely protective of their own stuff. I used to think they just didn't want us to have access to it, but maybe it's something else. Maybe they're afraid of what we might do. Crazy to say this, but I guess they're sort of like Dad in that way.
As you order.
Moving to Overwatch.
Readying weapon.
Dad was wary of the aliens' tech. He'd always say it was the ultimate expression of biomechatronics. It wasn't meant as a compliment. I remember him arguing with Dr. Valen night after night. Despite the advances the alien tech offered us, Dad was determined to keep humans, well, human. We're on our way.
Roger that. To that position.
I'm on Overwatch.
Detection.
I'm not saying Dad was wrong, but modifying humans is one thing, upgrading equipment is another. The Avengers shell is already predominantly alien, an old transport ship XCOM managed to dig up in the early days of the war. If we actually tried to work with their technology instead of against it, maybe the Avenger will actually fly someday. Rover, let's move.
I'm on the move.
I go.
I shoot whatever moves, right? Getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Can't get the Avenger up and running if I can't make it through one salvage operation. Did Dad ever have to go on these? The way people used to look at him, you could see the respect. Right now, I think these soldiers just look at me as another piece of gear they need to protect. That's when I got my first look at the missiles we were after.
Understood. Moving out.
Moving there.
Cover everything.
I'm already gone.
Rolling.
Attend metal.
I'm reloading.
I'm
Eventually.
I'm out of here.
That's affirmative.
I go as ordered.
Watch closely.
As you command. Heads down! Today.
I am trusting you.
I'm going.
On the move. My watch
Always
begins.
wondered what this was like.
I will move. Launch
get
order
some.
confirmed.
I will reposition. No one will cross.
Heading out.
I will go.
Moving.
I await their approach.
Turn on watch.
Scanning!
I'm watching. I'm on the move.
Ready to rock!
Got a cover ready.
I will go.
Come get some.
I'll keep an eye on it.
And we're off.
On overwatch!
I'm watching.
I'll keep an eye on it.
As you order, Commander. I won't let them past. Target's still up!
You are judged. We triumph!
Headed there now! Yeah, I didn't get it. I go where you tell me.
say, Commander.
I will not waver. They will fight no more.
Taking heavy fire! I go where I am needed.
You ready for me?
Affirmative, moving out. This is for you!
I am the victor.
We actually managed to clear the area of aliens before we scanned the missiles. So that made things a little easier. Rolling. Always wanted to try this in the field. The gear is secure. We made it back to base with scans of the missiles. No one died. Central almost seemed proud. Let's call Mission 1 a success. Day 1 log supplemental. May not have saved the world on my first mission, but we got the missile scans back to base.